Before we start, I must ask. I got something for you, kid.
Yo! Yo! Let's go!
Come on, son.
Let's fucking go. Of course. Yes. Yes.
I had to give Tony a little heads up. I said, yo.
Yes.
I said, by all means.
Wherever you guys are looking,
But
Brother Cigar over here just asked me to be his groomsman. Oh, that is
got the little
sick.
custom band on it, baby.
When are you
Look
getting
at
married?
that. I
When's
don't
the
know if you
date?
can zoom in on that. but-
November 19th, 2021. Less than a
you go.
year, baby.
Nice. There you go.
Yo.
We in here. Let's do it.
Yo, that just made the whole day right there, man. You have to do that right before we got an interview. Now I'm
Get you hyped up, baby.
Now I'm all flustered. Like, I'm not going to be able to focus. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burndown. Today, we are in Doc James Cigar Lounge in Mamaroneck, New York.
And our guest for this episode is considered the godfather of Instagram and co-founder of Why Not You Media, Mr. Tony Peck. What's going on, my man?
Doing fantastic, guys. How are you?
Living the dream, man. We're at a poker table, which we never done before, interviewing a co-founder of his own business, so smoking a good cigar. We're about to get into it.
Nothing better than that on a Sunday, right?
I mean, you're considered the godfather of Instagram, so we got this whole godfather vibe going on. We got the poker table, the dim lighting.
The Goodfellas poker table, shooting Spider in the corner over there.
Yeah, we got the pool table back here. We have to shoot some stick after this, but so Tony, tell us, godfather of Instagram, Why Not You Media? How did that all start? We've been following you for quite some time. You have hundreds of thousands of followers, I believe. Somewhere like 350 or something like that.
Yeah, 320.
320.
Yep.
That's
320,000.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So how did that all start? Like,
Now,
what
it's
made
funny.
you think of that? Why Not You Media?
You guys watched along since before this even was a thing. Why Not You Media? You guys knew me back with Ace of Cigar days.
Yep.
I had the cigar page. That's how we all connected, I feel
That
like.
was like when I lived in Connecticut. I
Yep.
first started Brother Cigar, and you were one of the first followers. I remember talking, I'm like, who's this guy, Ace of Cigars? I had no idea about the cigar community on Instagram, so I thought it was weird, like talking to people about cigars. And Tony Peck, believe it or not, one of the first guys I ever interacted with on Instagram. And as he's smoking, and as we're all smoking, I remembered posting a cigar, which was the Oliva Serie V Melanio, and me and him were going back and forth. How is this one of the best cigars? And that's what we're smoking today. So I'm liking that. I'm liking that it's all three of us. It kind of brings a little kumbaya feeling to it. So who's Tony Peck?
Tony.
Who is he? What is he about? Let's talk about it.
Good question. I like that. I like that a lot. Listen, born and raised Bronx, New York, Italian-American background. Grew up very Italian, obviously. Sunday dinners with the family. I got my sister. She's why I do everything. She's 20 years old, so 6 years younger than me. And my dad, hardworking dude, union guy, didn't go to college. So, of course, what you don't know, you don't know. I had to go to college to supposedly get to where I wanted to be in life because that's what he thought. Which, like I said, by all means, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And, I went to Fordham Prep High School in the Bronx. After that, didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was good at math and science, and I wanted to make money when I graduated. I didn't want to do school for long. So I said, you know what? Engineering, 4 years, in and out. You get a good pay when you graduate, $60,000. That was big money to me in high school.
Yeah.
I said, let's do it. Let's do engineering. So I actually went to Manhattan College in the Bronx. And while I was there, that's when I stumbled upon cigars. And freshman year, I've always been very entrepreneurial. Even before college, back when I was 12 years old, I started working and just started really hustling. Snow days, never had those. Would shovel snow for money. I would flip BB guns in high school. I would do bookieing. I would do the football boxes, football sheets, that March Madness brackets. I did all that type of shit. And then we can curse on this, right?
Yeah,
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, you can.
we just had Ray Kashkar. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's a 12-year Navy SEAL, 14 years with the CIA, badass. And before he was like, "What's the language here?" I'm like, "Just be you." And he was cursing out, "Fuck that, fuck that, blah." And it was, hey, I mean that's who you are. That's who we want you on here.
Be you.
Yourself, your authentic self. So by all means.
So you went to school for engineering, actually?
Yeah, I got a degree in mechanical engineering.
No
I actually
shit.
met his girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
Marissa.
No shit. 'Cause
That's
I went to school
Fiance
for electrical
now.
engineering.
Fiance now.
Fiance, yes,
Exactly, there you
fiance.
go.
Because I went to school for electrical engineering.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. You have that similar background. So tell us, so after you got out of college,
Yep.
You graduate mechanical, then what happened?
So it became in college where freshman year I started my first business. It was a lip balm company, Tony's Lip Care, TLC. I was doing that.
TLC, that's great.
Yep, it was natural and organic. I made it out of my house. And I started getting like in front of these big companies, but I couldn't afford these fulfillments. I took out student loans to go to school. I got a fucking loan to produce lip balm. So it kind of fizzled out as I went. But at one point in college, someone asked me, one of my friends, maybe it was a girl, I don't even remember, but someone asked me, what are your hobbies? I had to fucking sit there and think. I was like, well,
making money.
Go to the gym, and I like girls. I had no hobbies. I'm like, this is not a good fucking answer. If someone actually asked me, what are your hobbies? I thought I gotta pick something up. So I'm like, what can I pick up that would be good for me, that would get me around like the people I want to be like? I said, you know what, cigars. I couldn't afford country clubs then, so I was like, it's a little too much for me to become a hobby. Golf was too expensive. I said, but cigars, $10 a stick, I feel like I can kind of get into that. And at that time, I was really into health and fitness, so I never smoked anything in my life. No cigarettes, weed, cigars, nothing. So this is like a whole new world for me. I remember my first cigar, I couldn't even get the smoke to come out because I wasn't puffing on the right.
You had no idea.
You smoked it like this.
You had no idea, yeah.
And the first cigar I had was a Romeo and Juliet, the 1875. It was at my sister's confirmation.
Time out. That was your first ever?
First cigar. I still have that label.
Shut the
I have it
fuck
up in my
up.
office.
Dude, that was my first one. 1875 Bully.
There's something about that.
That was the first one ever.
It's a solid cigar.
Shit, man.
It's a great cigar, especially when you're first starting out.
No doubt.
I had a lot of those after that, you know. That kind of got me onto the scene. And then that was junior year of college, the very beginning of it. So I said, you know what? I'm at Manhattan College. I'm right next to the city. I got the one train right here. What if I start going to like a cigar lounge? Maybe I'll meet some fucking guys that are cool, that own businesses and stuff. And I could pick their brain and learn about cigars. I was so fucking nervous the first time I decided to do this. I asked all my friends, like, who wants to come, to the city with me? We'll go to the cigar lounge, like a Tuesday in the afternoon. We got no class. And they all look at me, they're like, cigar lounge? What are you going to go to jerk off old men? I was like, no, I'm going to go have a cigar.
Because how old were you at this time?
I was 20. I couldn't even legally drink yet.
So, and most people think that smoking cigars is like an older person thing.
That's
And
right.
I think in recent years, it's been coming up where a lot of younger people are doing it. So at this time, being 20 years old, everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing?
6 years ago, yeah. We're college kids too,
Yeah,
so
same, yeah.
I said, well, if no one wants to come, I guess I'll go and I'll figure it out and see what happens. So I went to Nat Sherman. It was the first time I went to the lounge by myself. And I didn't know anyone in there. I really didn't know anything about cigars at that point either. They take you into the humidor. The guy follows you around. What would you like, sir? I'm like, I got $10 to spend. What can I get?
Do I got to tip you? What do I got to do?
Exactly. Do I got to tip you? You're following me around. This is a little weird. So he gave me like a Nat Sherman. I think it was a Timeless or something like that. I tried that. And the way the Nat Sherman lounge set up, I feel like you guys know, but if people are watching, they may not know. The first floor, you don't have to be a member to go in there. But it's not like loungy. They had like a little table and like 6 chairs around there. But in the daytime, you don't go with your friends. It's like one guy that's reading the newspaper, one guy on his phone, one guy reading a book, one guy's listening to music. No one really knows each other. They're just all smoking in unison. So I was like, this is interesting. So I sit down with all these fucking guys. I'm the youngest guy there by at least 20 years. Everyone's like 40, 50, 60 years old. And one guy looked like the most receptive to talking. So I was like, hey, what are you smoking? I'm new into cigars. You got any recommendations? He goes, oh, yeah, of course. You're new into cigars.
That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say.
That's music to someone's ears.
Yep. And they're like, oh, I do this. I own this. I own that. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a college kid. I'm 20. They're like, what? You're my son's age. You're my daughter's age. This is crazy. You're smoking cigars, And I was like, this is a fucking amazing community. So I kept going back time and time again. And while I was in college, I started going to different lounges in the city. So Cigar Inn on 52nd and 2nd Ave. Lexington Bar and Books. I ended up becoming a member when I graduated.
That's a good spot.
Very good spot. Yeah, I remember that.
That's a smaller spot, but it's a good spot.
Yes, it is. The crowd there is cool. And I became a member here when I was a senior. And through those years in college, I started meeting Ono Bacardi. I'm good friends with him to this day. Rudy Giuliani I became friends with. The Prince of Finland I became boys with. We went to the strip club
Prince of Finland?
The Prince of he's a sick son of a bitch. We went to the strip club with him the first time.
How did you meet him?
We were at Lexington Bar and Books, and he was extremely drunk, but there was a gala at the Met. He's a part owner of the Met. Or the Guggenheim. He's a part owner of the Guggenheim. That's what it was. And there was a gala that they went to before then, that they went there for the after party, and I was there with my buddy PJ, and we didn't know who this guy was. But this guy was obnoxiously, belligerently drunk. And he's screaming, I punched a hooker in the face here last year. I punched a hooker in the face here last year. No one threw me out. And so me and my friend are like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, get this guy out of here. So he takes a liking to us because we're very standoffish to him. So he sits down, pours himself a drink, starts bullshitting with us, and then he just gets into it. Like, yeah, I'm actually the Prince of Finland. Like, get the fuck out of here. So
you're just drunk. Fuck
I'm like,
you.
who is this guy? Do you know? He goes, that's the Prince of Finland, though. I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy. So he really liked this a lot. He's like, well, what are you guys doing after this? I was like, we're going home. He goes, let's go to the strip club. So we ended up going to the strip club with him. We had an awesome time. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's a story, and it's like when somebody say, "What did you do last night?" I went to a strip club with the Prince of Finland. Like nobody's gonna believe you.
No, I know. Craziness. I was in shock for like a week after. I was like aftershock. I was like, I don't know if I want to go out after this.
How much money were you spending that night?
Nothing. He paid for everything.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Probably paid in jewels.
Yeah.
Guys got worth like $200 million just in art.
That's a good night. That's a good story.
Very good night. Very fun night. And mind you, this was right when I graduated at this point, Prince of Finland story. But when I graduated, I said, you know what? I have the engineering degree now. That's my backup. I said, I really don't want to do this. I was an engineering intern while I was in school. So I went through the ropes and I learned and I saw, okay, this might not really be for me sitting behind a computer all day. I'm more personable. I said, worst case, I can try what I want to try. I'm young. I'm 22. Yeah. My backup is my engineering degree. I had money saved up. I did a bunch of odds and ends jobs while I was in school with the lip balm company and everything. So I was like, you know what? Time's not of the essence right now. I'm in no rush. I'm not going to look to become a big engineering guy right now. So I said, I got to do something that I can do now that I can make some money and hopefully build something out of it. So at that point, I was trading penny stocks. That was my thing. I bought a bunch of courses online. I was trading my own money, and I was trading for like 2 or 3 hours a day. And I used to come here at this table, and this is where I would trade every day. I'd come here, smoke a cigar, trade my stocks, and I had nothing else to do all day. So I'm like,
yeah, because most of that is in the morning.
Yeah,
right?
it was an hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon. That was it. You're done. Like in the daytime, it's dead. It's like baseline. You're doing the volatility at times. Yep. So I was like, I got to figure something out I could do during the day. I have so much time. I felt like a fucking bum almost, So I said, you know what? Let me start an Instagram page just in case I want to sell a trading course in the future. That's the whole premise of this. So I started my first account, Ace of Trading. That was the page. And at that point, I was just reposting motivational quotes, nice houses, nice cars. And I was just trying to put like motivational captions and tagging the pages. And then I started putting out me smoking cigars. I put like the cigar here with the nice, glass of scotch or whatever.
Yeah.
And it started getting a good amount of traction. I was like, this isn't that difficult to do. I could do this with another page. I have all the fucking time in the world.
Yeah.
So I made a page, Ace of Cars. I like cars. Did that, started growing really quick. I think I had 10,000 followers in the first month. Because this is, 4 or 5 years ago.
This when the algorithm was really in your favor.
Instagram like 4 or 5 years ago, you could gain so many followers overnight.
Organically and targeted.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
And like you said, it didn't really require a whole lot of work because all you had to do, if you had another page that was already successful, you could legit repost their viral photos on yours. And that's when you see, if you ever go to the Explore page, you see the same photo over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's because that photo went viral and everybody else was reposting.
Yeah, I mean, pictures from 3-4 years ago I took, everyone, still to this day, get reposted from some odd cigar account.
Yeah,
I'm like, people still use this picture? What? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I first started Brother Cigar, I texted Justin the next day. I'm like, dude, I gained 300 followers in one day. He's like, yeah, dude, because he had like a couple thousand already. He had it for about almost a year.
Oh, yeah, you were first. You came on the scene after.
And I was like, man, this is so easy. And I look back, if you go scroll to the bottom, my pictures are not where nearly what they are today.
They were garbage.
Oh, my God.
I remember them, yeah. Now they're like professional photographers now.
Everything was terrible. Mm-hmm. And today, like, I put up a sick pic, and it's like, it's hard to get, like, the traction that it used to be. But it's funny. It's funny. True.
But because of that, like you guys did well in the beginning too, because it was a niche page. And I realized that real quick where I was like, okay, I did the trading very niche with the luxury motivation, did the cars very niche. So you know what? Then I made the cigar page, Ace of Cigars. That's when that came onto the scene. And I was just reposting pictures of me smoking cigars that are just like me in my scenario of smoking the cigar. That gained traction extremely quick. I think I had like 25,000 followers at one point. But I kept seeing, okay, niche might keep working. So then I did motivation. Then I did luxury. Then I was like, okay, what about other pages that I don't really care about, but I know can have a good audience? So I did makeup, photography, food.
All ace of something?
Ace of something. Ace of tattoos, ace of beauty, ace of luxury, ace of motivation, whatever it was.
So how many accounts did you have at
14. And in 4 months, I had over 250,000 followers across all of them. So I had all these people watch. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And there's no face to any of these pages. It's just ace of, and it's just me reposting the people that I was tagging. And at that point, I had a good presence on Facebook. I just kept writing like motivational stuff as I was on my journey. And I kept getting reached out to like talk in these Facebook groups. So I did a talk in the Facebook group one day. And I was here doing the talk, doing the live. And someone's like, you're like the godfather of Instagram. Because they wanted me to get on to talk about Instagram. They're like, you got all these followers and shit. Like, can you come on and like teach us? They're all business owners. So I got on and started talking like, you're like the godfather of Instagram. I was like, that's an interesting name.
That's a great tagline.
That's a big, bold name right there.
That's what I thought in the beginning. I said, that's a little too bold for me. I was like, I don't know if I want to be portrayed as the godfather. You know, I already look like I'm in the mob and everything. The jewelry, the cash, the cars, the cigars. I'm like, I don't know if I want the persona out there. So I kept on the back burner for months. Like maybe almost a year before that name actually came to the scene. I was like, you know what, let me put it in my bio. And I put it in the bio and it slowly became a thing. But what ended up happening was all these pages I had, people started reaching out to me. Like the beauty page, I made a killing on. That was like the best page. I don't know why, but all these people, like makeup artists for that page specifically, they'd reach out and say, "Hey, can you post my photo on your page?" Sure. They don't know it's a guy. They have no fucking. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, give me $100.
They're like, how much? In the beginning, it was like $3. Like, I didn't know what the fuck. I'm just posting one of your photos.
Yeah.
So I had packages, 1 for $3, 2 for $5, 5 for $10, whatever it was, and they would pay me for the photos. And then the other accounts started to get that traction too, like the car pages, photographers wanted me to post their stuff, and it started building that way. And I said, okay, maybe there's something here. I don't know. I'm not making a killing off of it, but I have an audience. Like, what can I do with this? And slowly over time, I just kept telling more and more people about it, and people started asking me, hey, can you grow my page? Sure, what you log in? They're like, how much? $50. I had no idea. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, because to you it was easy
my
stuff.
time. It's just, okay, I got to get on there. I got to engage. I got to follow people. I got to post. You got to do hashtags. That's it. That was the target back then, and that's what I was doing. And then it slowly became into, hey, can you manage my page? Hey, can you do content? Hey, can you do ads? Can you do this? Can you do that? And that's how we kind of built the agency. But the way the agency started was, I kind of took a break with the Instagram stuff at one point. Like, I slowed down. I always stayed on Ace of Trading, my personal page. I eventually converted to Tony Peck. But at one point, I took a little null because I didn't know what I was doing with it. Got my real estate license. I was like, you know what? I always wanted to buy property. So I said, let me get my license now. I got time. So I got that. I built my own real estate page up in Westchester to get business. And what ended up happening was I didn't really get much business. But realtors started reaching out to me to teach them social media. So I started going to these brokerages just to talk about social media. I didn't charge anything. It was just like, hey, I'm a guy in the local area. I got a social presence. Like, this is what you should be doing and stuff. And this is super early stage. So I did that for about like 6 or 8 months. And then I was doing that with my best friend, PJ. And he got into med school at this point in time. He goes, well, I guess I'm going to med school. So there goes real estate. So that little team kiboshed. I said, well, I got to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what I was going to do. So I talked to my other college roommate, Michael, who I grew up with as well. He lived around the block from me all my life, and we've been friends like the 6th grade. I was like, remember that construction company you worked for in college? You think, they're looking to hire? There was a company in Yonkers. So they said, yeah, sure. So I went over, I did an interview, and I said, listen, I'll help you guys with social media. I just want to learn how to, like, pretty much build a house from scratch. If I buy property to flip, I just want the knowledge to do it. I'm here to learn. And they're like, and you can do the social? I said, 100%. I'll take over the social, no problem. Took over their social, and I started working as a project manager. Then I started networking heavily in the cigar lounges. I ended up getting them contracts in the city to do work for these developers. So then I started managing these sites in the city because I was at the cigar lounge. It was crazy. And while I was there, I just kept pushing on my personal page. I'd post motivational quotes. I'd show the journey. I'd be home reading, smoking a cigar.
So everything kept coming back to the personal.
Everything kept coming back
trading.
to the Ace of Trading.
Tony Peck at this point.
Yeah, I changed it to Tony Peck at that point.
How much time are you spending? Like
every day, all day. I was on the phone. Even when I was on the job sites, always on my phone doing the Instagram stuff. Like,
well, because at this point, this is your full time. You don't have a full time job. Like this is the full time job.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, when I was doing all 14 accounts, it took me. I was on the phone about 14 to 16 hours a day, and I would post on every account once a day. All 14 accounts.
So it's pretty much like an hour for each account that you're on there. Yeah.
Captions, hashtags, got to follow right after I post. You got to tag the 20 accounts you want to tag. Sometimes you forget off the top of your head. You got to go look. Like the Ace of Cigars, I tag you guys every single time.
Yeah.
I did that on every single fucking page, all 14 pages. Such a pain in the ass.
Did you ever get like burnt out at that point?
No, not really. I just didn't see anything happening, and that's when it kind of took like a little bit of a no, and I only focused on the pages I enjoyed. So I focused on my page, the cigar page, the car page, motivation page, luxury page, and I hired 3 of my buddies. So my other current business partner, Fran, we called one of the aces. That's what we called each other. I had him and 2 girls. So they split the rest of the accounts that I want to do. It was like 8 of them, 8 of the accounts. Any revenue they bring in, they get 50% of. I was like, just, take care of the page, send out DMs. Any business you close, we'll split it. I'll unfollow, you follow, and we'll call it a day. So that's what I started doing. And then that's when I was on construction, where I kind of took a little bit of a no, just because I didn't see what was happening. And then I sat down here, December of 2017, going into the new year of 2018. And I was with this kid, Sandro, and he's like, you know what? You know a lot of people our age that are young, that are entrepreneurial. Why don't you host like a little networking group? And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So in the new year, 2018, I put together this thing called Diamond Networking Group, and every Wednesday night we'd meet here, and we'd just interact, hopefully pass business to each other, or at least be around the guys with like-minded.
Sure.
Because it's difficult to find people that are young, that are on the right path, that are doing what they want to do. So that was like the little hub here.
So you would just find different professions?
It was just people that I already knew, because I had a large presence. So in college, I had the company freshman year, so I was known as like the entrepreneur at Manhattan College. So a lot of people that did want to talk about business would just come up to me in the bar and talk. So I became friends with them. And then through the page, I was just connecting with people. Like people DM me, I would just have conversations. It was better relationships to me. It wasn't like, okay, they send me a DM, just leave it alone. This is cool. It would be, hey, where are you from? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. This and the sort. And then people locally started seeing that.
So did you bring people... Like when you said you had this diamond networking company, did you bring just random people that wanted to attend, or you had like a group and you guys would come here and would you network between the people here, or would you talk about how to...
It was networking. It was people that I knew. So I knew everyone that came, and I was hoping they'd bring new people for me to meet, but people that were coming, they didn't know each other. So it was great for them to.
So you were kind of just like the host to say, "Hey, listen."
Correct.
Like you were the common denominator between everybody.
Exactly. Come, let's have a cigar. Let's network. Maybe you guys get some business. At least at the minimum, you guys have connections this way. And people started coming, and I did it for 3 months, every Wednesday night. But I think at the end, I had about 50 people come in. Not every day, but over the 3 months. But there was only 3 people that kept coming back and forth. So it was me and my 2 partners now, Mike and Fran, where I said, "Listen, let's just shut the doors. Let's come up with a business idea." So. That's what we did. We sat down here. Then we just took every Wednesday night. We'd meet up here and we'd come up with what can we start? What can we start? What can we start? We had no fucking idea. All I had was this personal brand, Tony Peck. At this point, I had about maybe 25 to 30,000 followers at this point in time, which was a lot back then.
Oh yeah,
and
it's still a lot now.
It's a lot now. You're right.
I mean, once you get over the 10K mark, it's like now you got the swipe up.
That's
feature,
where the work really starts.
That's when it's
you get the swipe up. That was big.
Because now if you have a website or if you have anything that you want to sell or podcast, swipe up for the full podcast, all that stuff. So.
Exactly. So we were coming up here with these ideas, and the common denominator between 3 of us, we wanted to help people. And I go to a lot of these different conferences and these business events, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too before, where you go to these events and all they do is sell from the stage. It's not genuine anymore where you pay for the ticket and you just learn. You pay for the ticket and then every speaker that gets on there is selling something to you every single time. Which to me is kind of
you pay for the opportunity to buy something else.
Exactly. You pay to get pitched to.
Yeah.
It's crazy. To me, I was like, this isn't right. If I'm someone that's trying to learn, you should be giving me value for the ticket that I'm paying.
And that's where the biggest value is especially today, is giving knowledge basically for free and giving back, because through the years, that's what all seminars were. I remember going to one thinking I was going to learn something, and it was a whole buy my package for $3,000, another one buy mine for $2,000. I'm like, okay, I learned maybe 1 or 2 things, but I think this guy's a scumbag now because he wants to sell me. Yeah.
So his whole speech is to set up the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that I'm assuming that you go there just to honestly teach, it makes you stand out more, because my personal opinion would be if I went to learn to teach and I went there and I actually learned multiple things, not worrying about, I have to pay $1,000 on my credit card for this. Yeah, I'd be like, oh shit, this guy seems knowledgeable, more personable, and not an asshole, because he's not pushing his product on me. He just wants to teach, and that goes a long way, especially on social media. The biggest accounts, the biggest presence are people that are giving knowledge back. Yeah, because that's what gets people wanting more. They want to learn. And then from there, you might buy their course. So that's the right way to do it, I think. Instead of they say, "Hey, action now because you're an action taker." Like, that was a big pitch on all these things.
Yeah, and a lot. These conferences, they're not cheap.
No, they're not.
If you go to a Tony Robbins it's tens of thousands of dollars to get there. So some of the lower end, I don't want to say lower end, but the cheap and less expensive conferences, there's still a few $100. And as a person, an entrepreneur starting out,
it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money right up front. If you're really just trying to get your business off the floor and you're trying to, you already have a 9-to-5 job, you're trying to do this as a side hustle. Spending $500 to go to a conference is already a lot. Yeah. And then you get there and now you got to pay another $5,000 if you want the full material. It's I can't afford that as a right when you're starting out. That's impossible to afford.
And especially when they're promising, learn how to do this, learn this, and you go, okay, I'm going to learn something and leave with it. And then again, I never liked that feeling of I feel pressured of buying something, because I remember when I lived in Connecticut, I went with someone I worked with at AT&T. And I said, hey, and I know you've got some entrepreneurial mindset. It was a Draymond John seminar. And I was concerned. I was like, yo, you want to go split it? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. Why am I going to drop all this money? And it's the same thing. It's the same song and dance for years. Give you some knowledge, buy my course. Give you some knowledge, buy my course. So the fact that you're kind of deviating off that path, they're just saying, just pay this little price or whatever you charge.
There was no pitching. That was the whole premise of the
And I'll just give you information.
That was it.
Have a nice day.
And like Eric said, is people will respect you more and they appreciate it more because you're giving them what you say you're going to give them.
Yeah, exactly.
You say, hey, come to my course. I'm going to teach you everything that I know. And all it is $100. And then they get there. And they're probably, a lot of people are skeptical as it is. When it comes to any of this, motivational, entrepreneurial, all this growth mindset, a lot of people are skeptical as it is because they feel like they're going to sell them something because that's what everybody did. Yeah. But now that when they get there, you're actually giving them what you say that you're going to give them. Right off the bat, they're like, all right, this guy is different. I trust this guy way more because he's not trying to sell me some pitch.
So how do you promote that? Like, so if you're setting up an event, do you say something funny like, lack of a better term, like I'm not gonna sell you. I'm not gonna sell you on my program. Like,
no, so the whole premise was we didn't even get into the event part of it. That's what happened. So that was the idea. That's we were supposed to start.
Yeah, so you guys you guys are here every Wednesday trying to come up with an idea.
That was the idea. Events, you pay for the ticket, no pitching. So now we're like, what's going to be the name? How do we set this up? Where are we going to do the venue? Tony got to push it through your page. I've never sold anything on my page before. This is
those $3 posts.
Yeah, my $3 posts and growth here and there. I'll manage your page. I'll post for you. Like, what the fuck? I don't know if my audience is going to buy tickets for me to go speak at a conference. And I was like, I don't know if my network is deep enough that the speakers that I can get here are big enough to draw a crowd in. So there's a lot of variables. And the hardest thing in the beginning was the name. Couldn't figure out the fucking name.
That's always the hardest.
The name and the logo is always the hardest. That's
I mean, we kind of in that boat right now, thinking we're coming out with our own cigar soon. It's the same thing. It's just like name and logo.
Mm-hmm.
Like the cigar, the blending, all that stuff. You can put the name and the logo.
Yeah, because once it's out there, you're like, I really don't want to change it. Once it's there, you establish it, you're pushing, then you want to change. It's a whole
and it could be
thing.
anything. Yeah. It could be anything.
I mean, they even come up with the name for the burn down. We came up with the name burn down because I said, hey, I like acronyms. I like you see the name and it actually means something. So miraculously, I have Brother Cigar. He has Dapper Cigar. So I was like, BDP. I'm like, all right, what can we do with B? And we're like, all right, burn. All right, cigar, you burn it. And we're like, all right, but we're like talking, we're conversating. We're like, burn it down. You kind of conversating. We're like, burn down podcast.
I love that.
It literally just popped out, because we wanted something that was cigar related. So it's like you burn down a cigar. So like the whole premise was like, well, we'll spark it up, talk it out, and burn it down. And that's kind of like the tagline.
Yep.
I love it.
So you're here every Wednesdays. You guys have come up with an idea. Now you can't think of a name, but the idea was events. So where do you go from there?
So Fran said to us, what about why not you? So we look at him.
Just out of nowhere, just popped it.
He was sitting right. He was sitting in this chair near the table. I was sitting over there. My other partner was sitting over there, and we just look up at him. And I was like, I like that a lot. I said, yeah, my mother always just told me, like, why not you? Like, why can't you be who you want to be? Why can't you achieve, whatever you want to achieve? And I said, you know what? I feel like the top people in the world, that's the mentality you have to have is why not you? Why can't you do
What's your why?
Yeah, what's the reasoning you can't? Like,
exactly. So I said, that's a fantastic name for the event because remember, this is events, positivity, mindset. Why not you? That'll be the mentality. So then, okay, we got the name. What's the next thing? How do we fund these fucking things? We're newer entrepreneurs. Like, we don't want to come out of a lot of pocket to do all these events, and then we lose because we don't get enough people here.
Yeah, because you need a big space, especially if you want to bring in the amount of people that you want.
You got to pay for the space whether people show up or not. And
exactly.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to get people to show up. That was my biggest. I was like, we're going to charge how much? I don't know if people are going to swipe up the buy. Like, I have no fucking. I've never sold anything at this price point to swipe up the buy, but we got to make sure we pay regardless if people show up or not. So Fran was like, you know what? You're already doing this Instagram stuff, and he was doing the stuff with me with Ace stuff, and he goes, why don't we turn this into a media thing in the meantime where we sell the Instagram growth and take those funds and then we put that to the event so at least we don't come out of pocket. I said, that's not a bad fucking idea. So that's what we did. So we started pushing the Instagram growth. We made packages, we made a website, and then we came into the scene where Why Not You Media. And with that, we started that LLC November of 2018. That's when we officially became a company. And then from there, I quit construction last February. And from then to now, we have a team of 17 people.
Nice.
We've serviced over 500 clients. It's just been insane.
From
there, like I said, from Instagram growth to now the management, the strategy, the ads, the websites, the growth, the press. It made so many different services that we can offer now just because people wanted them, they needed them. I made connections. How can we get this done? We just built the team out.
That's great.
And it's been something else. Like I said, it stumbled upon me almost accidentally, but I've been on Instagram for so long pushing something. That was like, where am I going to find my lane to actually get into doing something?
But that's what's cool because you kept chipping away. You kept chipping away. This wasn't working out. This wasn't working out. I don't like this idea, but you kept going at it. You kept going at it. And that's what we always say. Like, the hardest part is really just doing it. Yeah. Like, the fact that you set up a weekly meeting, you said, I don't like this idea. Let me go after it. I don't like it. You just kept going at it. And then something sprouted, and now it's why you're not media.
The most successful people, whether they're the best or not, they're just the most consistent. I don't think you have to be the best at anything. You have to be the most known, and you got to be the one doing it the longest. Like, those two things, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
Like, I've been shown my face on a story ever since stories came out. I haven't missed a day on a story. Like, think about that. Stories came out how many years? A few years ago they came out. Since day one, I posted a story. Haven't looked back. Like, that's fucking consistency.
Yeah.
Like, that's the hardest thing people can't do is stay on something for a long enough period of time where it actually gets some result that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. I teach that to my clients all the time. They're like, hey, I'll try you guys for a month. It's not worth trying. That's not what it's about. If you're going to try me for a month, I don't need the money. Save your money. Wait to come to me when you're going to do it. I'm not going to lock you in, but wait to come to me when you're ready, willing, and able to think about doing this for 6 or 12 months. I said because 1 month's you're not going to get anything out of it. Yeah. It took me 5 years to be sitting in front of you. I said for you to think it's going to take 1 month for you to drum up business because you have a background. I said you may have an offline brand that means nothing online. No one knows you yet online.
Yeah.
You got to build it up online. So that's a hard thing that I see. We're talking to clients now because they're older and they may be established doing it for 15, 20, 25 years. I'm like, that doesn't convert here if there's nothing here yet. It's a whole new brand. It took you 25 years to get offline. It's going to take you some time to build online.
Yeah, it's like I remember a quote from Denzel Washington who had said that goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. And I see him right now. He's not missing a day. He's posting right now, mid episode.
He's on the phone.
I love it, posting it. But it's but he says, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. And that's the thing is, no matter what it is, and it doesn't matter what it could be anything. You could make an Instagram about socks, pencils. Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
Just consistency over and over and over again. Don't miss a day. Keep going. And then the hardest part is where the discipline comes in is when you've been 6 months in, and you don't see the traction and you don't see anything. You're like, crap. I've been posting every single day for 6 months
or 2 years in my case,
and it's like
same thing.
It's like okay, I got a little bit of growth, but it's like I seen this other account who just started a year ago and he's got 20,000 followers already, and I've been for 3 years and I only have 1,000. It's like just keep going because you'll be rewarded for your efforts.
And I think you said it. I watched one of your videos, and you said social media is a long-term game, not short-term. And Gary Vaynerchuk's notorious for that because he had his little wine company that was nothing, and he was consistent with it, similar to your situation. And now he's one of the biggest entrepreneurs, biggest guys in the world. Yeah. And that's what it just goes back to, is just being disciplined and being consistent. Because on my Instagram, I still haven't reached 10,000 followers, and I've over the last year, I posted almost every single day. This year, I'm posting like 3 or 4 times a week. But
that's because of the burn down.
We have the burn down. We're doing other things, so it takes up all the time. But at one point, when I just had Brother Cigar, I made sure to post every single day. And that was when Instagram was good. You post every single day, you're getting all the interaction. So you just have to be consistent with it.
I got to say, I know a lot of people. You guys see me meeting a lot of people. I'm out all the time now. My network's tremendous at this point. Over $1 billion between everyone I know. Out of all the people I know, especially on social, you guys might be the 2 most other consistent people that I know personally. Like, you guys were literally at the beginning before I was even Why Not You was a thing, before Tony Peck was a fucking page. I remember seeing you here. I remember seeing you here, like maybe last summer or 2 years ago, and you said, and this is right before we might have been just starting it or right before, but I remember seeing you here, and you said, "Yo, you guys should have a podcast." And I was like. And I don't remember what I responded, but I remember you saying that downstairs in front of the bar. We took a picture, and you're like, "Yo, you and Justin should do something together and start a podcast." And I think that was the time we were, and I was like, "Hey, man, we're getting in the mix of it." So it's all about consistency. Yeah, it's really what it is.
Because I remember you from like way back. I'm like the same thing, and I remember back when it was the Ace of Cigars, Ace of Cigars, Ace of Luxury, all this stuff, and I'm like, who's this Ace guy? Because and then like every day a new page, I'm like Ace of this, Ace. I'm like all these guys, and then I would go to one page and I would see like one, and I would see how when you have the other pages and it says like combined 100,000 followers in our network, and I'm looking at all these Ace. I'm like, who is this Ace guy? And I'm like, so I remember following, and then all of a sudden like you started posting your face, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, this guy. And then all of a sudden, it changed to Tony Peck. I'm like, who's this Tony Peck guy? And then you were telling, I'm like, but I was following. I'm like, I like this guy. I'm like, who is this guy?
I was like, yo, Ace of Cigars and Tony Peck's the same guy.
And then it clicked. I'm like, who is this guy? He keeps posting cigar. I'm like, all right, he's following me. He's tagging me. I'm like, all right, this is cool. So we started like interacting.
Yep.
And then like your page took off. And then he was telling me that he met you here. And then I'm like, holy shit. And then he was saying, oh, by the way, he's like, I was talking to Tony Peck. He goes, you remember this guy? He sent me your page. He goes, remember this guy? I was like, yeah, I remember this guy. He goes, so and so was saying we should get together, and he wants to be on the podcast. I'm like, oh no shit! I remember this guy from the Ace days, way back.
Yep. Yeah. I think it was my fiance's brother, Mark.
Yep, it was Mark.
Yeah. He was like, yo, I met up with Tony. He was asking how you doing. He said, you guys should collab. I'm like, oh, I was like, yeah, for sure. So I remember DMing you, and I was like, wait, I think I have his phone number. And that's when I texted you. I texted you last month, and I was like, "Yo, let's get on together." And you're like, "Let's do it."
So here we are. I remember. So I watched a video of yours, and you made a very good analogy, or about analogy, but a comparison between social media and fast food restaurants. And what you had said is that social media is exactly like fast food restaurants. There are a number of different fast food restaurants, and you'll never go to McDonald's looking to buy a Whopper.
Correct.
Right? You won't go to Burger King looking to buy
a burrito,
a Nachos Bel Grande, right?
Exactly.
And you were saying that social media is the same way. You're not going to go to Facebook with the same mentality as you would on Instagram. So my question is, how do you feel about how all of these platforms are now trying to be like other platforms. Like, for instance, Snapchat was the first to come out with those things, the stories that last 24 hours. Now Facebook has stories. Now Instagram has stories.
LinkedIn has stories now.
TikTok was coming out with, the videos, and now Instagram has Reels. So how do you feel about that? All these social media platforms that are essentially just becoming all the same.
Yeah, how do you decipher? Because when TikTok came out, I'm like, another platform? Do I want to like embark on this journey? And then Reels came out, and I was like, because people were like, Eric, you should do informative cigar videos on TikTok. And I said, Justin, maybe we should look into it, but we're just so busy with our own pages, the podcast, editing, blah 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 blah. And then Instagram came out. I was like, all right, maybe we should start doing the Reels because we're not doing TikTok. So kind of let's just get on the wave. So how do you navigate, and how do you, like Justin said, how do you decipher between it, and how do you go after?
Right now, it's an amazing opportunity because prior to all these platforms trying to like take from each other, it was just the platforms. And when I did that talk, just from that talk to now, things have changed significantly where TikTok wasn't even part of the scene.
Yeah, I don't remember when that talk was. That
was last year in the summertime, I believe.
Yeah, you were on a panel of a couple of people.
Yep. And at that point in time, the mentality is still true where every platform, the audience, even if I'm the same person, like it's still Tony Peck on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. When I go to each of those different platforms, my psyche is different for that platform. LinkedIn, I already know it's more professional. I got to change my verbiage, my content, my interactions a little bit. Instagram, you can be a little more sales. You're going to generate more business out of. Facebook's an older demographics. You have to play and cater to the platform that you're on. But now, because all these platforms are like, I don't want to get devoured by one of these. I need to adapt and take whatever I see that's doing well. It gives us more of an opportunity to stay on the platforms we enjoy creating on because now they have all those features that are the different platforms. Before, it was like, okay, if you're on Instagram, you can't do the short stuff. There was no stories back in the day. You had to be on Snapchat for that. Well, I didn't like Snapchat because it was a younger audience.
Yeah.
So I would have to cater to that audience then to generate content that they would like, which to me is very time consuming. And a lot of times, when I'm sitting down even pitching to customers or clients that I have, they're like, why can't I be on all 5 or all 6 platforms? And I said, it's the same mentality of, you only have so much time in a day. When I was doing Instagram stuff, that was the only thing I did was Instagram. Because when you focus on one platform, you can put 110% effort into it, build up a real audience, and then from there, you can take that audience and put them to your other platforms. What a lot of people do is, like, you know what, I got to be on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. You're on 5. You're spreading yourself too thin because you're only putting 20% of effort into each platform. None of them are going to grow large enough that you're actually going to develop a solid brand. You might be an outlier and it may happen, but it's not a practical thing to tell a business owner or an entrepreneur because you got to do so many other things in your business and your day-to-day aside from just creating the content for each platform specifically. Because the content, if you wanted to do it the right way, they should all be different content too per platform, which is a whole other conversation, how much time that's going to take. And then you're really spreading yourself that thin because you may not be answering comments on LinkedIn because you're busy on creating for TikTok, and then you're not answering your Instagram DMs because you're also posting on Snapchat. And it takes away from you building that actual desire, that like the demographic, that target that you want that's going to become a loyal fan base. So what I did was just double down on Instagram and you build that way. Like I had a podcast, the Midnight Motivation Podcast last year, and I got listened to in over 50 countries. I only did it for 12 weeks because I bit off more than I can chew, honestly. I did 3 episodes a week with one guest in the middle, plus running the business and working, and it was just too much. But over that time, I had over 100,000 views. It was crazy. All from my Instagram page. That was it. That was my only form of advertising and marketing because I had that loyal fan base already. So they were just willing to swipe up and listen to my podcast. And I had viewers coming in. As opposed to if I was on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you wouldn't have that much of a loyal fan base. You may still have numbers. I might still have 25,000 across all platforms, but you wouldn't have that much of an in-depth, like, loyal follower that's interacting with you, messaging you, asking you questions. Like, I have people that follow me now, for like you guys, when I first started Tony Peck, that still DM me, and they're like, I remember you when you had 18,000 followers. And they'll tell me that. And, like, it's been amazing to watch the journey from then to now. And now it's much easier when I do hop on a platform, swipe up, add me on LinkedIn, swipe up, follow me on Twitter. And you can easily pull from that audience to other pages. Like, I'm starting a YouTube channel in the new year. It's going to be easy to grow a following because I already have a presence on other places.
You can drive traffic from the main social media platform that you already have engaged followers, loyal followers, and you can say, hey, listen, if you like me on this platform, why don't you check me out over here?
Exactly. I already know you're on there. Now you can watch me on here as well. And, the thing, like, I love Gary Vee. Big fan of him. But I don't think a lot of stuff's practical. He has a team now, I believe, of 40 people just for Gary Vee's personal brand. That's insanity payroll-wise. I can't even imagine the numbers he's paying. Call it $50,000 per person times 40. That's a yearly. Insane. Right? People don't have that type of budget, to have 40 people just to work on their personal brand. Because he's like, you got to be on every platform all the time, putting out 100 pieces of content. That's just not practical advice for the typical business owner, entrepreneur, whether you're even a small or medium-sized business, honestly, like we're a medium-sized business, that's not practical to be on 7 fucking platforms every day, all day, if you're the one doing it. Or you have to hire a lot of people where it gets really costly at that point. So the more practical way is pick one platform. Pick what you like. You know, if you like to write, get on LinkedIn. You could do blog posts there. People like blog posts. They're not going to read your blog posts on Instagram, but on LinkedIn, they're more receptive to doing that. If you like to do video, get on Instagram or get on Facebook. You know, like if you just like to do little tidbits about what you got. Or YouTube. Longer form videos, do YouTube. If you want short information that's digestible you can type, get on Twitter. You know, like cater to what you like to do already content output-wise. Pick that platform, stick to that platform, just keep building out. Like for you guys, I love how you brought that up. You didn't get on TikTok, neither did I. I tried it. I must have posted about maybe 50 or 60 videos. Didn't get any traction. I said, I'm spending enough fucking time doing this. I'm capping this. Reels came out. Now I'm on Reels. Because I'm already on the platform. Yeah. And I've been doing cigar reviews on Reels.
Yep.
I've seen that.
And they've been great. Yeah. And that stuff like that, it's okay. Now the platforms are adjusting for us, which gives us more opportunity. We don't have to jump to a new platform because that platform is something that is gaining more attention. It's okay. Stay where you are. Your audience is there. You integrate and take advantage of the new features because typically on any of these platforms and new features, they're going to give you more reach because you're using that new feature for them. The app wants you to use all the new shit that they're putting in there. So when you use it, they reward you. So I'm just playing to the platform that I'm already at with the established presence, that established audience, and just doubling down on that. And then you can squeeze out that way. Like me, in the new year, I'll be on Instagram. I'll be on YouTube. I'll have my podcast. We're going to bring back our Why Not You podcast. And I'm on LinkedIn. So I'm on 4 account platforms. I'm on Facebook. I just post stuff I post on Instagram. I already have like my friends there.
It's linked, right? So
I don't post on the business page. To me, it's a waste because the reach is so low. You got to pay for ads. Yeah. So I just post on my personal page. I got like 4,500 friends, whatever it is, just to put it out there because sometimes they may not see it on Instagram because Instagram is lowering its reach all the time. So I'm like, it doesn't hurt just to put my stuff on Facebook. So I'll be on 5 platforms after in the new year. And that you don't need to be crazy. It doesn't have to be anything more. You know, maybe I'll get onto 6 in the year after that.
Whatever the new one is.
Yeah, in 2022, maybe I'll go into a new platform. But like, if you focus on the main ones that you're good at, build that out. That's a home run because you're going to be able to build a much more loyal audience. As you guys have seen your community, you guys have a community now. It's not just a page. Yeah. You guys aren't just posting and you guys have a fucking community. You guys have built relationships, friendships.
I think it's crazy how many people you guys wild how I mean. It's crazy to think of where we started, like we said before we even started filming, as anybody that's watching or listening, they know that our first episode was just Eric and I with a camera, no microphones, no furniture, nothing. It was no lighting, nothing. It was and I look back at it now, and our chemistry was so awful.
And it's actually one of the most viewed videos.
I know, it was so awful, but it's crazy that now that we have people that send us, gifts from Vancouver to London to India to
it's wild
China. I mean, people all over the place.
There's people that like really truly enjoy us, which is weird because we're just average, just average Joes,
just guys that
for me to grasp.
We're just 2 guys that smoke cigars and then bullshit. But
and we get some packages that are like we got one package and it was a box of just stuff, and then we had individual cards. They read stuff out about us, like, hey, and I'm like, awesome. Shit. I'm like, what the hell? And I think the biggest misconception on Instagram is that it's all about the followers and it's all about all the comments and the likes, which I completely disagree. It's all about the engagement and interacting with every single comment, interacting with every single message. Because Justin and I'm sure you do the same thing. I think I learned it from Gary Vee. There's a YouTube channel called Minority Mindset, I think. And he said, respond to every comment, respond to every DM, and just building that. And I know people's first and last names. I know some people's like background, their family, just from DMing them. I've never met them in my life. Yeah. So when I do meet them in person, it's like I know them. It's like, oh, hey, what's up? And I think that's how we built our following, is just interacting. Because people will send me bizarre stuff. And like people even who reaction to my story, they'll like throw the heart face like reaction on the story, and I say, hey, thanks. I won't say I won't say much, but it's an interaction.
Or even just double tap and like it, just like when they respond, because you can double tap the reaction to say that you like it, like just anything.
The biggest thing is the interaction because it's a social media. It's you're interacting with people.
I say it all the time.
It's a community.
Forget that. It's social. You have to be social. Because people say, like, I hear it all the time, oh, Tony, you have 320,000 followers. Why do you only get 2,000 likes? Only 2,000 likes. You imagine standing in a room of 2,000 fucking people?
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying.
No.
I said, that's 2,000 individual people that are choosing to like my shit. That's a lot of people. That's how I look at it. And I tell people, too, like, oh, I have 8,000 followers, but I'm only getting 72 likes. What do you mean only 72? I said, would you be comfortable talking in front of 72 people in a room? They're like, no. I was like, then what the fuck's the issue? I was like, DM every single one of the 72. If you don't think you have enough, DM every single one of them and connect with them if you don't know them already.
Yeah.
That's what I did when I started. You just fucking connect with every single person.
Yeah.
Especially because I remember you had done a couple talks with the real estate and mentioning to people that are in real estate trying to get on social media, and you were saying that you have to just be on there and be active and be engaged, and like you said, post stories every hour, like just be on there, and people like to see, like if you're real estate, that's your thing, and you have a personal page. Show people a little glimpse into your personal life. Like you said, you're doing real estate. People know you for cigars, so it's like they can connect to you on a different level, and then they trust you more. And now they know if they want to buy a property, they can go to you.
Exactly.
And I think that, especially in that, let's say that example, real estate, if you post a picture of a house and you get, let's say you have 100,000 followers, and you only get 100 likes. That means as a real estate, you got to think that's 100 different people that liked my post that could be potential clients.
Yeah, maybe they liked it in passing. Who cares? You should DM
And if you reach out to 100 people,
you're gonna get at least one answer.
you're going to get at least one.
It's
That's
a numbers game.
That's 1%. 1% is like that. At least one. And if you get one, you sell it. Boom. There's your commission for the
You know
month.
how when we first started getting clients, I didn't even when we had Wine on Media, my network is nowhere near where it was now because I wasn't full time. I was still in the construction stuff. Now my network's insane, but then it wasn't like where it is now. I had DM all day long. I would stay in my office. I would stay here. I would send anywhere from 300 to 400 DMs every single day. That's all I did.
You have to.
Hey, congrats on the new baby. I see you do this. How long you been in your business doing this? We'd love to help you expand, grow, whatever it was. Just sending a personal DM to every single person that I thought may be able to use my service. A few people answered. They weren't interested again on a call. They go to the next one. Then they get on a call. Then you close them. I started all my clients that I closed in the beginning. I never knew them personally. They were in different states. I never met them. It was just me reaching out and then following up. That's another huge thing too. Yes. If you're in business on social media and you want to generate business, people think that one touch is going to close a sale. You know how many times it's taken me over a year? I have clients now that have been with me or I've been talking to for over a year. I got a call yesterday this is a funny story. You guys appreciate this. Last year, I went Christmas shopping for my clients. Went to the liquor store to buy a bunch of liquor. And I was in Throgs Neck and there was a little pop-up table. And there was this guy, Joe, there. And he was selling, it was like a nice blue bottle. It looked really cool. And it was called Blue, B-L-E-U, liquor. And it was a tequila and vodka mix or something like that. It was like two types of liquor mixed into one. Wow. I was like, this is fucking exotic. You want to try it? I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll try it out. I tried it. I was like, this is really smooth. And I was like, so how do you guys get started? You guys have like a social presence? We can start bullshitting. He goes, yeah, we started this company a year and a half ago. We're in a few stores. We're just trying to get a name out there. So I gave him a few tips. So you know what? I want to support the business. Give me like 4 of your bottles. I'll keep like 2 for me and I'll give 2 to the clients. They're like, thank you so much, man. I was like, take down my number. If you guys need help with social, let me know. He just called me literally yesterday. And
this was a year ago you met him.
This is last December. I was in the store buying Christmas gifts for my clients.
And you hadn't talked to him since then?
No, I follow up every month. Hey, how's everything going? Whole business is well.
And there was no response?
No, there is. Oh, yeah, all's good. Still no...
It's all about being on top of the brain.
Like the small talk kind of stuff.
Exactly. Hey, how's everything going? How's the business been? Yeah, everything's going good. We got this going on. Cool. Calls me yesterday. Got a project I want you to work on. We're going to hire you guys. It took me a year. I messaged him once a month, every month. That's the difference in following up that people don't do. And another thing, too, like you were saying, when you build that social interaction with people and your brand gets larger, like me, for instance, I'm verified now. I got the 320,000 followers. I'm a fucking influencer. Like, it's weird. I hate to say it. But, like, people are like, you're an influencer now. I'm like, nah, I'm Tony, But
I'm just a guy from the Bronx.
I'm just a guy from the Bronx. But because I'm such a large page online, people hold more value now to when I talk to them. Like, it's the crazy. Like, if I answer someone that just, like, reacted on my story and I send them an emoji back, I'm like, hope all is well. Appreciate you. They're like, holy shit, you answered me. I'm like,
and that's what goes back to it.
Yeah. I'm a fucking person. But they're like, I wouldn't never expect to get an answer from you anyone at your like level of online presence or whatever. So it holds that much more weight as you get bigger as a brand online, which I don't think people realize because when they get bigger, they start to answer less. That's when you gotta answer more. 100%. Because it holds so much more weight to that person, Because when you react to somebody, just saying thanks, cheers, hope all is well, whatever you say, they go, oh, wow, this person reacted to me. Time.
And then they'll be with their buddies or whoever they're with, and something that's relevant to your business or service will come up, and you might be top of the conversation. Be like, oh, I follow this guy, and he, we talked about this, that, and they're like, who's that? And they, oh, it's this guy, look. And you check him out. Because if you just ignore that reaction, when you ignore that DM, there's zero there. There's nothing there. Yeah. It's just another account that didn't answer me, whatever.
Cool,
no, this person's actually a real person. They actually interact with me.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with today is the interaction part. Like in face to face. People forget about that. Yeah. And I'm in sales, Justin's in sales, and
No, I'm in sales.
And obviously you're in sales.
I feel like no matter what you do, you're in
always
sales.
in sales. Your whole life is sales.
If you're in business in any capacity, you're an entrepreneur. You're in sales.
You're in sales, and I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is they think that just because they're not selling a product doesn't mean they're not in.
You're right.
Means they're not in sales. I go,
get a job.
It doesn't matter because like when you go to an interview,
You're selling yourself.
You're selling yourself.
And another thing, branding. You're still a brand.
Yeah, like you're selling
if everything
yourself.
Failed, I went to the job interview. This is my resume. Here's my page. Want to hire me? Like I already have my brand. You have a brand, even if you're going to work somewhere. If you have a brand, let's say you want to work for a food company, do their marketing, but you have a food blog account with 30,000 followers. You know how much more likely you are to get the job than the next Joe Schmo who doesn't even have a social page.
It's all about having the edge. And it's funny, saying that you yourself, Eric, Justin, Tony, you, the person, is a brand. And I remember going on, interviews, and one of my responses to multiple questions was, well, they're not Eric Josephson. They might be this, they might be that, but they're not Eric Josephson. And people are always like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. And I'm like, Eric Josephson brings X, Y, and Z. The other person might be better at Y, Z, X, but they're not Eric Josephson, if that makes sense. It's not Eric Josephson. And they're like, oh, all right. And that was always one of my go-to responses, and I would explain why, because you are your own brand. Yeah. You represent yourself, and no one else is gonna.
How many people realize that? And another thing too, with the social aspect, my competitors. I don't think I have a lot of I know a lot of people in my industry, and no one does everything that I'm here to build an agency. Like my thing is a marketing agency, branding agency. We're here to build an agency. I have a lot of people that are in my industry that are just running ads for clients. They're just doing Instagram growth for clients. So I don't really think I have competitors, so to say, in a way, which is weird. But what they do is they're all online. They're sending out DMs all day long, still to this day. They're doing Zoom calls. They don't meet the customer. Customers all over the country. They never interact with them. There's no personal interaction. Me, my customer, I'm seeing them once a month. I'm showing up, grabbing a cigar. Let's go out to dinner. I treat my business like a hedge fund. And I think with the online stuff, people are like, this is an easy way for me to drum up business without ever leaving my home. And they stick to that. But if you take the online and mix it with the offline, that's how you're really going to build a brand and a business that's going to keep you long term. Because at the end of the day, like the pandemic, we blew up during the pandemic. I had 6 employees before, and now we have a team of 17. During the pandemic, we hired all these people.
Yeah.
Because I stayed in touch with all my clients prior, and during the pandemic, no one left us because there was a relationship there. They're getting Christmas. Like there's gifts going on. There's phone calls. I'll help pick up your kids from school. I babysat before for them. Like there's a relationship that I know my other competitors, they're not doing that because it's just quick sale, quick sale, quick sale. You leave. I'll just fill you up with someone else anyway. It doesn't make a difference to me or not. And then when adversity hits like a pandemic, those are the quickest people to drop off because there's no okay, these are my costs. I'm spending $2,000 a month on this guy. I don't really know him. Let me cut the costs. Maybe I'll get back into it later on if I want to. But with us, it's like, okay, I know Tony. You're not just paying a company, you're paying Tony. Like it's Tony. Right. Tony's feeding his sister. Like when you tie all that personal stuff together, that's where you're going to get more success. But I think a lot of times now people want to play to, it's easy to be online all the time. Let's only stick to online. You got to do both. You got to be on your phone and in person all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing meetings all day long and on my phone all day long. You got to do it both. If you're not doing both, you're missing one aspect that's important to grow that business long term.
Absolutely. And it's, like you said, when you mix in both, because you can be online, and let's say you're not doing the offline, but you're online, and you'll grow at a certain rate. But if you make connections with people, and you take them offline, or like you said, you're just responding, and you're building a relationship, then yes, it could be online that you build a relationship in the DM, but that person might go offline, and he might be sitting in a lounge, like for us with a cigar lounge, right? Or whatever it is, you have a relationship with somebody that you just met on Instagram. They like you say, hey, what's going on? You build a relationship. What are your favorite cigars? Blah, blah, blah. They check out your podcast. They like your podcast. Maybe you mention them on the podcast, and they're like, holy shit, they mentioned me.
Yes.
And then now they're sitting in the lounge offline, hanging out with their buddies.
Yep.
And they're like, yo, you got to check out this podcast. I just followed them. They mentioned me. They pull up their phone, check out the episode. They show it. It verifies that they're telling the truth.
Literally.
And then now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that they're sitting with. All go and check it out.
I DM
and
people
all you did was
all
make
the
a connection, one person.
All it is.
I DM people all the time. If we mention somebody,
Rookie mistake right there, my friend.
Did it fall on me or no?
Did not fall on
you.
you.
Your finger kind of hit it, but it wasn't as dramatic as a rookie move.
Dramatic.
You get a pass, I think. He noticed it.
He noticed it. And I did it too. I tried to see how quickly I picked it. I was like, wait,
no one's going to notice it.
No one's going to notice the leftovers.
Pulls out a little vacuum.
Get the brush real quick and brush it over. But what was I going to say? Oh, so two things I wanted to ask, but since Justin just mentioned it, when we talk on our podcast and we bring up a business or we bring up somebody, It had nothing to do with our episode. Like, we'll say, oh, by the way, we saw Tony Peck the other day and we talked about X, Y, and Z and we talked about this. And then I might DM you or whoever it is and send you our YouTube episode and say, hey, Tony, by the way, 46 minutes and 32 seconds, we shouted you out. Just wanted to let you know. And people will respond and say, oh, that's awesome, and post it. Or some people won't respond at all. But it's just the fact of just, again, engaging and just saying, hey, we appreciated what you said or whatever. And it's another level of just building relatability and engagement.
People get discouraged when no one answers, though. I think that's the biggest thing.
Come on, man.
Even in sales, people get discouraged when they hear no's. I'm like, bro, one more no means I'm closer to one more yes.
Exactly. It's funny because I had said that we had did an interview about with John Starks a couple episodes ago, and we had talked about how shooters shoot. Right, and we were talking about basketball. Obviously, I was a basketball player, so we're always talking about basketball. And we're talking about shooters shoot, and I say it's the same analogy right here with sales. Is everybody hears a no and they get discouraged? It's like, listen, one no means you're that much closer to a yes, and it's like play the percentages. Like if you're a shooter, right, and you shoot 30% or 35%, 40%, whatever it is, every miss, if you miss 4 in a row. That means if you were to take 10 shots and you're a 40% shooter, that means out of the next 6 shots, you're going to hit 4 of them.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you'll have 4 for 10 and you'll be a 40% shooter. So it's like every miss means that the next one is going in. I miss again, guess what? The next 2 are going in. Yep. I miss 5 in a row, I'm going to be on fire the next set. Like, people don't realize that. They take no and they're like, nope, that's it, I'm done.
My relatable story is my first year out of college, I used to go door knocking. Rain, sleet, not even cold calling. I was cold knocking. I was showing up at your door in the snow, in the rain, in the freezing. And I would get so discouraged in the beginning because I thought it was all about personality. Hey, what's up? Look at me. I'm at your front. And then
you see that YouTube video of the guy selling the cleaner. Yes. The dude selling the cleaner, and he's like spraying it on everything.
Yes.
You envision yourself being like, if I'm not that guy, I'm not going to make it.
And I would get doors slammed in my face. The cops called on me. Like
you had the cops called on you?
Yes, There's a guy walking around my neighborhood, and he's selling something. Selling Verizon Files.
He's selling crack in my neighborhood.
So the cops come up and I'd be like, no, I'm Verizon. Here's my solicitor's license. And so I embrace all of those because it's 100% what both of you guys are saying. It's all about getting to the next yes, because there's only so many people that can say no to you, and you have to have that consistency and you have to have that tenacity and discipline. Just keep going.
Yeah,
it's like eventually it's coming. Like it's no. It's coming. It's going to be the next one, the next one, the next one, and then boom, you get one, and then all of a sudden you get another one. You get on a roll, and.
But I want to ask Tony because I heard you mention it twice in the beginning and just before. You said, "I'm doing this for my sister. I do it for my sister," and you said, "I got to feed my sister." So because. It's pretty interesting that you say that. I heard you say it twice. So what does that all mean? What is that all about? Like, give us some background about your sister.
I think it's like anyone with siblings. At least that's how I feel. We grew up together. We come from the same household, the same background. Parents are divorced. Don't talk to our mother. She was abusive as we were younger kids. And it was just me and my sister. Like, that's your first friend. That's how I looked at it. When she's 6 years younger than me, she comes out of the womb, I'm her first friend. And I kind of took that to heart when I was younger. Always like trying to be the bigger role model. Like, this is what you need to look for in a guy. Like, this is how people should treat you. This is how people should act towards you, just like leading the right path for her. And we've become just so close that I just feel like a responsibility to her that everything that I can obtain is to show you, like, you can do anything you want to.
Why not you?
Why not you? Because if I can do it, we came from the same background, why can't you? And now she's going to law school. She's applying next year, and all thanks to me because I was able to pay for, the classes the last semester and stuff and help her with the books and get her into the LSAT classes and stuff. And then she doesn't have to worry about working in school because she works for us now. She works from home, on her phone, doing the account management for us. She's one of our employees, which is awesome. She just became an employee during the pandemic. And now she has the time and the freedom to work and study and not have to stress about, I got to go into work, I can't study during these times. And she gets really chronic migraines, my sister. She blacks out. She's lost her color vision before. Wow. So she has all these medical things that I think stem from my father's side. My grandmother had a lot of medical issues too. And just to be able to know that everything that I do, I have that why. That's the stuff that pushes people out. That's what pushes you out in the morning when you don't want to do stuff. I think a lot of times is people want certain things, but they're temporary things. Like, I want the Lamborghini, which I do. But that's not going to get me up when I really don't feel like it. Like, that's that's going to get me up most of the time, the majority of my days. Like, cool. I want the car, I want the car. I want the watch, you get the watch. Cool. What's the next thing? I want the car, you get the car. What's the next thing? But the really difficult days where it's like, fuck, I don't want to do it. Like, you guys know how it is with sales, especially too. It's a tough, rigorous thing mentally, physically. It's a lot that goes on you. What's going to push you further? You got to know your why. And for me, it's my why, because I know anytime that I don't do something to get closer to my goal, I'm kind of letting her down in a way where I'm not becoming the best that I can to show her that you can become the best that you can be. So thankful for her because she's pushed me to become as good as I can become. And she's also helped me over the earlier years in business where, like even with the lip balm stuff, I had a difficult time saying no to a lot of things like going out. And so I would just do the motions, to say yes, yes, yes. But then I said to myself, every time I say yes to something that doesn't help me get to my goal, I'm doing a disservice to my sister and all those others I can impact in my life. And that's when it's like becomes really crystal clear. Like, okay, this is the why. Anything that takes away from the why, don't do. Mm-hmm. And then you put it that black and white, yes or no. Does it help get to the why? No, I'm saying no to that activity.
Yep.
And then it becomes that much easier to get that much more focused to stay disciplined. Honestly, it's what it comes down to.
For sure.
And just keep pushing forward with that, knowing in the back of your head, this is what you're doing it for.
I love it.
I like that you said, every decision that you make is if it's going to get you closer to your goal, then you do it. And if not, then you don't do it. And it's like I'd seen something where it's a decision tree. And it says, there's an opportunity or a choice of doing whatever it is, X, Y, and Z. Is it going to get you closer to your goal? If the answer is yes, obviously do it. If the answer is no, the next question, is this going to violate one of my personal values? Is this going to violate my value of family, my value of physical health, my mental health, whatever personal values that you hold yourself to a high standard of? Is this decision going to violate one of those?
I like that a lot.
If it's not going to violate one of those, then don't do it. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not going to get you closer to your goal and it's not going to violate one of your core values, then there's no reason to do it. Mm-hmm. If it's not going to get you closer to your goal, but it is going to violate one of your values, then maybe it's something that you should do, and that's going to be one of those extracurriculars that you do. It's not really getting you closer to your goal, but it's building a personal relationship. It's built like going to the gym, right? Mm-hmm. Is going to the gym going to build the podcast? No. But is it going to violate my personal value of physical health? Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go to the gym, right? But if it's like, am I going to go drinking tonight when I actually have an interview that we're doing? Is that going to get me closer to my goal? No. Is it going to violate one of my values? No. Then I probably shouldn't do it, right? And I saw that tree. I'm like, wow, that makes making decisions so much easier.
I appreciate that because I have a difficult time with that part, like the gym part, very specifically to me. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't do it because I know I should be doing it, but I focus on my goal of the business. So if it takes away from that, I won't do it at all. I'm that black and white. But I'm glad I never thought of it that way. I got to sit down and do that side of things to make it a little bit deeper because there are other things you can do that may not be to the goal, but to other goals vertically.
Other goals, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that was good. I like that one a lot. I never heard you say it before.
I'm going to use it. I like that a lot. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. I forgot where I heard it from, but it was... I saw it. I'm like, wow, it makes everything so much simpler to decide. Because that was one of the goals, like, where, coming in the new year, one of the things I wanted to be more decisive. Just make a decision. Whether it's right or wrong, just make a decision. Yep. Stop being so indecisive. And I saw it and I go, wow, that makes it so much easier to just filter it through. And it's like, boom, okay, I got my answer. That's it. I'm doing it.
It's funny that you say it because Justin and I talk about, I don't know if you do like personal affirmations or anything like that, but every single day or 4 or 5 times a day, I'll write goals, affirmations, gratitude, reflection, and one of my affirmations always is I can make decisions because sometimes I'm indecisive. Sometimes it's like, I don't know if this is right or wrong.
And the more you think about it, the more you're like, it gets harder.
And I'm always right. I can make decisions, good or bad. It doesn't matter. You made a decision. You can't go throughout life always teeter-tottering back. Even if you make a wrong decision, it's not a fail. And as Ray Cash said, it's not a loss. It's not a fail. It's a learning lesson.
Yep. L stands for learn.
Yep. You got the W's and you got the L's, the wins and then the lessons learned.
I like that.
So 100%. It's all about making decisions and just doing it. So,
dude, I love it. So we're actually we're a little bit over an hour here. Oh, wow. So we're coming up to, and we could sit here all day, and I would love to sit here all day.
I like these in-person interviews because when we're just doing if we're doing an interview via Zoom or if we're doing our own podcast, we got the clock or whatever so we can gauge. Mm-hmm. When we're doing this, I don't really know when we started, and we're just in conversation. So these are always.
And like I said, we can go on and on and on, but I don't know if we could have an hour and a half, 2 hour interview.
Too much editing.
That's true.
But we want to give you the floor is yours now to promote your brand, to plug your company, where people can find you on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever it is, your website. The floor is yours to drop all the
red carpet is all yours, Mr. Tony Peck.
All you got to do to find me, go to Instagram at TonyPeck _TONYPC_. Anyone that reaches out, DM me, you got any questions about cigars, business, mindset, social media, whatever it is, I'll answer you at some point. I get a lot of DMs, but I do get through all my DMs. So shoot me a DM. More than happy to connect anyone that's listening. and that's it.
What
I'm
do-
not
what
here
do-
to sell.
What do we got to do to get a referral from Tony Peck to the Burn Down for cigar questions? What do we got to do for that? You got cigar questions? Bring them over to the Burn Down.
Oh, I can answer your questions, but you want to know who really can answer your questions?
Go to the burn down, guys. Absolutely, of course.
Well, listen, Tony, it's been a pleasure. We've had a blast talking with you, and thank you so much for your time to come on the Burn Down. Like Tony had said, everybody just follow him at Tony Peck _. It's TONYPC _. But until then,
Until next time. Follow the Dapper Cigar. Follow the Brother Cigar. Burn Down Podcast. Burn Down Academy. Do all that good stuff. Just follow all these guys in this one.
everybody, drop a like, drop a comment. Wherever if you're listening, 5 stars. If you're watching, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified for any new video that we drop. We do one every week. We do a couple other ones for the Burn Down Academy throughout the week.
We don't got a glass, but I'll give you. We'll get a little fist pound.
Pounds here.
Yeah, come on. Fist pound going. But thanks again, Tony, and salute and cheers to you, my friend. Thank you.